All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes on the internet. I got to be careful today because I'm still driving and trying to go get my lovely, beautiful wife. Anyway, I want to continue to keep talking about the voting thing and why we should vote and why people that say we shouldn't vote. And here's the other thing. I was talking to my wife. And she was talking about one thing was she was like, well, how much time does it really take to vote? And how much of a sacrifice is it to really vote, just to go and vote? It's not really that much of a sacrifice. It takes less than, except for these states like Texas, who is issuing out the big time voter suppression. But usually it don't take that long to vote. And, even if it takes 30 minutes, even if it takes an hour, even if it takes 6 hours. And then I keep running across these posts about people talking about nobody died for our right to vote. And that's absolutely insane and ludicrous and just completely off base. Even if I was on the other side, you still have to realize facts. Brother Medgar Evers definitely died as the result of trying to enable people to be able to vote. All right. A lot of the people, black and white, freedom riders, Jewish, everything else, a lot of the freedom riders were murdered, lynched, everything else. And basically their whole program was what? It was about the right to vote. So, those kind of posts like that, those are unfounded. And then yesterday, of course, I was talking about, me being a coon because, all of a sudden I'm a coon because I vote. It's like, okay, well, then we're talking about pretty much everybody in leadership in our history is a coon then. Malcolm X, Dr. King, everybody's a coon. Because, well, like I said, the focal point of the civil rights movement was the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. So minus those things, and now we actually have we have a title in the law simply because of the fact that they did what they did. So discrimination, so being able to pinpoint discrimination. The hard part is being able to prove it. But still, even with that, discrimination did not exist before the Civil Rights Act. Okay, so there was no discrimination because the first Civil Rights Act, basically all it did was say that we were going to get equal, contractual things, whatever the government was giving out. And we know that even that's not true. All right, so we didn't even get that. But what I'm trying to get at is this. It doesn't take that much to vote. Okay. And the other thing is, I was reading one of my fraternity brothers, and he made a real good point. And the point that he made was this. The point that he made was, look, he was like, even with Obama, we got all these people now talking about Obama this, Obama that, and how Obama, didn't do anything for black people and all that kind of stuff. Well, my whole thing behind that was we never asked Obama to. We basically voted for Obama just because he was black. Obama never promised nothing. He never promised us one single solitary thing to the black community. He never said he was going to do nothing for black folks, and he didn't. His major focus during his administration was the Obamacare, the Healthcare Act, the immigration reforms that he put in, like sanctuary cities and all of that kind of stuff, and rights for lesbian, gay, transsexuals. That was the hallmark of his administration. And then, of course, everybody's like, well, and the recovery of the economy. But then again, if he didn't recover the economy, he almost was like forced into that. Bush forced him into that. He had no choice. All right. So it wasn't like, but that wasn't like his, but okay. So we'll add that into what he did. But as far as saying, okay, we have a program to regentrify, historically black communities, or we have this thing in order to push reparations to descendants of slaves, or we have, any type of, there was no agenda like that ever during Obama's administration. No matter how much, and like I told one of my other frat brothers, it's like, I like the man. I don't think he's a bad guy, but he did not have an agenda for black people, and nor did we push him to have one. We never stormed the White House and were like, look, we need this, and this, do this for us, or else, we hate you, or something like that. We elected that man 2 times. And I want y'all to be clear on that. We elected him, and everybody keeps, and then that's the other thing. The other argument I keep, or people keep on saying to me is, oh, well, the president ain't elected and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, the president is elected, and we elected Obama twice by a landslide. And then today we're looking, and another one of my fraternity brothers, I was looking at him. I know I've been dealing with them a lot, but here's the thing. He was like talking about the primary in Michigan. And the fact of the matter is that it was like 11,000 votes Trump won Michigan by. And Michigan is usually 9 times out of 10, a Democratic state. But black people didn't vote. You're talking about 11,000 votes. 11,000 votes is less than the most basketball arenas. All right. I think Hampton University's arena on our campus, the Convocation Center, is probably bigger than that. More people fit in there than you're talking about 11,000 people. That's what Trump won Michigan by. And so he got all those delegates. Because that's a big state. So he got all those delegates, and that's how he won. And y'all got to start understanding how the game is played and stop always being so critical. It's like, stop being critical of the game and learn how to play the game. If they told y'all you was going to get, and see, this is the funny part about it. Yesterday I made an analogy to football. Well, people learn the game of football, right? Why do they learn the game of football? Because they think they're going to get paid, right? Why do people play sports? Period. Because they think they're going to get paid. That's why they play, because they want to get paid. That's why, I got some friends out here that are minor league baseball players. They trying to get to the big leagues. But guess what? So they play every day. They work on their mechanics. They work on everything. They even have, they even do things, in order to lift themselves mentally and everything else. But the bottom line is, it's like any other game. You got to know how to play the game, and you got to be in the game to be able to win the game. That's what I keep telling y'all. We not going, and black people, I don't care, because I looked at it from the opposite direction, and that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. I looked at it from the thing of, look, let's be apathetic and forget voting. But you know what happens when we forget voting? We get people like Trump getting elected. We get people like Bush stealing elections because they too close. But do you realize, that's why I keep telling y'all, do y'all realize, just like in those states that are what we consider to be red states, most of those states are not, just like Arizona is a red state, but it's not really a red state. It's just a state where nobody votes. People out here, there's probably 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people out here who are descendants of, some are black, some are Hispanic, some are Native American, but they don't vote. So who goes to the polls and votes? The red constituency goes and votes. They're the ones. So they're the ones who are driving all of the policy. They're the ones who dictate how all of the money in the state of Arizona is spent. Once again, I made the analogy about, the solar industry and how, Arizona has all this sun and their grid could easily be run on solar, and everybody could live in the state of Arizona for free, except for maintenance costs on your solar systems. You'd have to pay, it would save the earth, like fossil fuel, no gas, no natural gas, none of that stuff would have to be used. It could all be run on solar energy. Because like I always tell people, hey, if the sun don't come out tomorrow, guess what? We all out of here anyway. So those are the things. But because of political policy dictates that you can't have but so much stuff run off of solar. It has nothing to do with the availability. It has to do with people and greed and money. Because all those people that own oil stocks, guess what? That's how come for example, like Tesla, like go look at a Tesla car. Do you know a Tesla car cannot reproduce energy? You have to plug it in. And there's a reason behind that, a regulatory reason, which is what? Which is based on voting, which is based on what your representatives and your representative democracy have told them that they could do by regulation. Did you know this? So you have to, at some point, you have to charge up. And why is that? So that you'll use electricity and they'll make money off of you. All right. So stop tripping on, it's the white man system. No, it's not. All of the governmental systems in the world were created by Africans. I mean, they were there. How can you have something that's been there 50,000 years and you have one of the greatest civilizations on earth, but they had no order? I mean, come on. I mean, be realistic and just be practical and think about stuff. But y'all don't want to be practical and think about stuff. That this stuff didn't materialize. And democracy is one of the oldest forms of government. A vote. Everybody have a vote. I mean, you do that in your family. You do that around, you do that at work. Okay, we got two ideas. So who all in favor of this? All in favor of that? That's all it is. Expressing what your opinion is. And then being civilized, once again, civilization, being civilized enough to go along with whoever has the most support. And that's all it is. And then the only other thing that I think is a detriment to the system is the Electoral College, which right now, Sister Stacey Abrams, who was the one that she's starting to have like a movement to get rid of the Electoral College, which I've been saying for years. Like, get rid of the Electoral College. There's no reason for it. The reasons that it was created no longer exist. None of the reasons behind its creation exist anymore. Okay, it's become outdated and antiquated. It's no longer necessary. All right, so it's like so what are you going to do? It's like, okay, so if you got something, because just like, for example, we had the worst economy in the world under Bush, right? And I'm telling y'all right now, and I know I'm going to get off track for a second, but look, this coronavirus is a smokescreen and mirrors for the fact that the economy is about to tank, or is tanking. Stock market is going down. The deficit is at $22 trillion. There is no tax base. The rich people don't have to pay taxes. All right. So, and the poor people don't have enough money to support the government. Plain economics. If I take 30% from one place and move it to another place, you have to replace that 30% with something. Common sense. If I put it out on the thing, take 3 blocks, take 1 block away and put it with the other blocks. And if there's nothing over on this side to hold up the building, the building is going to fall. All right. It ain't that complicated, y'all. And that's what this whole coronavirus thing is about. Because basically what the 30% tax cut did was all they did was steal money. And usually what they do is and he did try to start a war. I was going to say, usually they try to start a war along, to go along with it. Then that way, they have an excuse. So when they bombed Iran and all that kind of stuff, they thought they would start a war. The war didn't really jump off like they thought it would. So now they're stuck, with just trying to explain away while, because the Republicans are notoriously famous. Go back, look it up. They're notoriously famous for what? Wartime economies. All they know how to do is sell defense weapons, or lock people up, incarcerate people. That's why we're the most incarcerated nation on the face of the earth. And the reason why they get the chance to do all of that is because y'all don't vote. I'm trying to tell y'all. Please. if you don't believe anything I ever said or whatever, just believe this. Or look, just go out and vote. Just go vote, register and vote, and just do it for me. Do me a favor. Do me, like I said, do a brother a solid. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. But most of all, y'all, hit the think button and the love button. I love you.